Good morning, everyone. How are you? Hopefully everyone's good. There's the stir. Morning, Franco. Wait. Is the stream public? It is public. Okay. We're good. That was quite a big cock up yesterday. What dry ball is going to turn on the studio lights? Oh, baby. Here it goes. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Here is the result of the 3D prints for the last couple days. My 3D printer might not be toleranced quite perfectly because I don't think these are supposed to be too tight to move. There we go. So I got 4 of these trays. I've got 3 of these trays. These interlock. They interlock better when they're all the same way. I think they're supposed to be square, but there might be a little bit of variance in my 3D printer. Okay, so these trays interlock, and these trays, they slide in there. Yeah, maybe a little bit tighter than they're supposed to. Good morning. And then there's more modules that I'm going to print to go in there. But the nice part is these will stack. And so I can have in progress projects, little ones at least, just stacked on the shelf. And I can put labels into these holes or whatever. So that's the deal. The other thing is I am using up, no, not a fishing tackle box, just parts trays. The other thing that's nice about this is I'm using up filament that I don't usually use. So just kind of burning off a little bit of the filament collection. And there we go. That sits really tight in there. So there we go. So I guess I can throw an extra tray in this one. Geez, that's tight. I don't know if I'm like super happy with the fit, but it is what it is. There we go. Got some project trays. So how's everyone doing this morning? Hopefully you all are good. Oh, baby. Right. So there's something I need to do this morning, which is put the Open Robotics project on paper. So I might have to do some paperwork with you guys hanging out here, because if I don't do it on stream, I just tend to not do it. I'm going to take a quick look around here and see if there's anything specific I need to make a video on. Don't think so. One of the big things I need to make a video on right now is a battery. I was right about the YouTube audit. What do you mean YouTube audit? I don't quite know. I don't quite know what you mean, and I don't quite know what I said. So that's not great. Oh, one thing we can play with. We can play with our thingy. Very precise, I know. Let me tell you, I'm still half asleep. Okay, let's clean up the Open Robotics platform. And maybe I'll throw it in one of those trays. Who said YouTube might do audit because I am revamping? No, I don't think so. What did YouTube do? What is happening on your end that's causing you to think that? Take these things away. Take me away. The sweet escape. Counts of, oh, yeah. It's possible if your traffic is, yeah, it was me, sorry. If your traffic is unusual for you, the viewer counts and stuff could be paused. But usually it fixed itself within like 7 days. You'll be fine. It's just an analytics pause. It's probably healthy, good for your mental health to take a break anyways from watching the counts so much. Let's see if we can give this a quick clean. It's just a little isopropyl alcohol. For some reason I think that's much worse. It's like revitalizing the ink. There we go, that's not too bad. Alrighty then. Okay, so let's build ourselves a little switch here. Let's see, I'm thankful I didn't start the 3D printer because I might have to design something real quick. So I should have in my switches box. Oh Jesus, that's a heavy box. All right, I need a big honker of a switch. So this is not bad. This is better. That's a big boy switch. So I like this one. Let's see. So the difference is this switch, it should come apart. So this switch is protected. Oh, it feels absolutely like butthole. That does not have a good feel to it. But everything is, yeah, everything is empty. But anyways, this one I think is good. Oh, there we go. Because it's all protected. You can pull these sections out. so I can have my wires go in there and not be bothered by anything else. That's good. This one here has terminals on the outside. I would have to 3D print a case. This one I don't need to 3D print anything, so I think I'm going to build in this one. Okay, so, and that alleviates some of the strain off this switches box. Alrighty then. So, what we need to do is we need to put some big fat wires onto this, and then we can connect it up to the lithium battery with a pre-charge resistor. And I do have a little bit of wire, very little bit of wire here that I can use for this. This is 4 gauge, not the best wire. And then the inverter itself, I have a feeling this is more than 4 gauge. The inverter itself has big ass terminals too. This thing is absolutely massive. This takes up my entire bench. So I don't know what size this is, but let's see if it fits the lugs. You had one of these, the Vivor ones? Okay, so yes, it fits. That is awesome. Good. So that fits 3,000 watts. Yeah, so I'm going to be messing around with this. I'm going to, so I was given a massive battery to review, and I don't know what to do with it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use this with a 3D printer, and I'll attempt to 3D print 100% from the sun. So I will do a discharge test. I'll do a discharge test of the battery using, it's around here somewhere, using a shunt, although the shunt only goes to 100 amps. Whatever. I'll do a discharge test using a shunt, and then, yeah, we'll have fun. So first and foremost, though, I want to build a pre-charge resistor. So essentially, I'm going to wire a terminal up to this switch, and have a maybe one of these 2K ohm resistors that I have a lot of, and I'll put a little push button, and that should be just about right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So we've got this, we've got some thick wire. I have to buy some good quality wire. And then we're going to keep working on the ORP a little bit later. So when I need to sit down, because I'm old and my back hurts, we will do some paperwork. So first things first, we need to get some terminals. Oh, I also need to get a switch for the pre-charge resistor. So let's see. As much as I'd like to use a mechanical key switch, probably should use one of these. Should be able to handle the current just fine. One of these guys. 2K ohm will be, actually I'll probably use a 1K. It'll be low enough current that this little switch will work fine. And then if I want to, I can 3D model and print a little nub that puts this in here so you can pre-charge. Okay, so that's good. Back up on the switches. This is I can't tell you how shit this feels. I have half a mind to open it, so maybe I will. Also, usually you can pull these out. So it works as a lockout, but I guess not. Okay, well, it feels like ass because it's just a rotating copper chunk. Got some grease on my hands. It's just a rotating copper bar. And the grease has been so bad that it has like wiped copper onto the plastic. And that detent you feel is actually just it rubbing. Yeah, this is bad because these lugs are not copper. Oh, okay. They might be brass. They're non-magnetic. Okay, I was wrong. Not too bad. No, I'm really curious though what material they are. Let's scuff it. I actually think that's copper. I think that's copper. Huh. Okay, well, I was wrong. Let's put a little bit more grease here. So first, let's grease the O-ring, which looks a little bit dry. we go. Let's pop that back in. I see that the O-ring is one size fits none. Definitely not the correct size O-ring. Just trying to avoid putting my grubby hands all over it, but unavoidable now. Definitely the wrong size O-ring. It will lay in there. There we go. All right, let's put a lot more grease on here. And this is the Super Lube synthetic grease. Hopefully that doesn't destroy the contacts. But the copper bar should be able to slide across and make good contact. Okay, now the difficult part is you have to align the square piece. So the knob is not removable, that's for sure. Okay, so when it's fully on, it's like aligned. So this will be fully on. And then it slides this way. Yeah, that's the right direction. So that's fully on. Just have to make sure it's clocked the proper way. Let's put some screws in. How's it going, Doss? That's a scary lot of tension. It might not lined up with holes. No. So it does have to be clocked properly. And that's a heavy friggin' spring. There we go. So hopefully that spring bar is in its place. We're going to move the excess grease away. Hey, ITT. Good morning. For Doss, I think it's bedtime, right? Because I think Doss is down under. Thunder down under. when my wife and I went to Las Vegas like 10 years ago now, probably more. Actually, definitely more. Holy crap. How long ago? It's been 20 years since we went to Vegas? I don't know, long time. Anyways, we were staying in the Stratosphere, which doesn't exist anymore. And there was a Australian all-male stripper group, and they were called Thunder Down Under. We did not go to see them. I mean, even if we wanted to, everything was so expensive in Vegas, except for the free shit. There we go. Okay, we're good. Confirm that off also works. Off, off, off with his head. Yep, off also works. Done. Serviced the Chinesium switch that we're going to use. Good. Next. Now we have to find large ring terminals to fit over here, but that will accept a small wire. Large ring terminals, small wire. So I should have these in a storage box. Doss, were you part of the Thunder Down Under when you were younger? I do have a Megger. Would you like me to test this through the Megger? I don't think so. Two tours of duty through North America, 1 Europe, rite of passage. That's funny. I have this Megger. Where is my... I had a Megger. Oh, here. I don't. It's not in the box. Don't think there's much to test as far as breakdown for. Well, we can test it. Mind you, this is used at 12 volts. So if it fails at like, what's the max on this? 2500 volts, I wouldn't be super concerned. However, there is a thing about... Okay, honestly, where is the Megger? There is an important caveat that DC switches need to be able to break arcs to a higher degree than AC switches do, because in AC, arcs self-extinguish. They cross the zero threshold. But DC doesn't get that. You don't have that benefit on a DC switch. So you do your switching contacts do need to move further apart if you want a nice, safe switch. So this is concerning because the Megger is a large tool, and I'm at the point now where I am losing large tools in my hoard. So this is almost intervention point. We are getting very close to intervention point, folks. That's not good. Clearance in the switch is huge. Yeah. Large tool, that's what they called you when you were part of Thunder Down Under. Thunder Down Under. Dosters from the land down under. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. All jokes aside, I would love to visit Australia. So if you guys can do me a favor and row a little closer to shore so I don't have to take such a long plane ride, that would be appreciated. I have a friend in Tasmania as well, so I can go visit all of you. But if we, here's a problem too. If we sacrifice all that travel time to get to Australia, there's no way that we'll be able to skip New Zealand. So now it's become a huge trip. Because we do Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania. Wasn't anything to do with tackle. Okay. We will continue what we were doing, and if I find the megger, we're gonna hook it up. How does that sound? And as I find stuff that should be put away, I will put it away. So right now I'm going to the other room. So I found something that goes in the other room. So here I go. I took it, taking it with me, and I'm gonna put that here. There we go. One thing put away. In the other room, I'm looking for my terminal kit. Which doesn't seem to be here anymore. Oh, is it in here? Nope. This is becoming problematic. Actually, sorry. It has been problematic. I don't know what I'm saying here. Need to put all my terminals in the same kit. Okay, let's look through this one. So I feel like I removed all my ring terminals from my connector box, and that's problematic because now I don't know where anything is. Oh no, it's gonna be one of those days. Gonna be one of those days. Okay. Let's do this. This box, I know I'm throwing out, so I'm gonna put this by the exit of the shop. This is garbage. Garbage. So this is not turning into a cleaning stream. I am just moving away the things that I know are not going to stay in the workshop. I got to gather all my 3D printer parts too, and pop them into their storage bin. Okay, there's a lot of boxes I need to go through. Maybe next weekend I will do a cleaning stream. Okay, this is fishing stuff. Fishing stuff needs to go in the fishing area. Oh, do you want to see my tool? I found this at a garage sale. Thought it was cool. It was a giveaway. No small undertaking. Aussie slang is doing you in again. You'd love to visit Canada again. Work you may send you. So, Doss, if you do end up in the NCR, the National Capital Region, so Ottawa-Gatineau area, you let me know. We'll meet up and we'll hang out. And if you're into fishing and don't mind spending money on a one-day or a couple-day fishing pass, I'll take you to my secret fishing spot. So that goes for pretty much all of my contacts, my good friends I made in industry, longtime chatters. If you're in the NCR, well, we can at least meet up and say hello. Depending on the vibe check, we might go fishing. I am a big fan of, looks like you're buffering. My dad bought a cabin on a lake for like, I don't know, $5,000 or something, which was a lot at the time, but like in retrospect is not a lot. So the cabin is nearly worthless because the cabin has not been renovated ever. It was built and then left the way it is. So the cabin's not worth anything, but the property is, and even better than that is the lake access allows me to go fishing in peace. Like, yeah, we have neighbors like very, very close to us. Like it's not private. It's quite a populated area, but the little chunk of land that my dad owns, my parents own, is indeed privately owned. So when I set up the boat, I don't have to worry about like public boat ramps or access or whatever. Yeah, I saw my preview monitor did that too. So I don't have to worry about, I can just, my boat stays up there. It's all locked up, but it stays up there. And then when I go down, I just take stuff out of the cabin, put it in the boat, launch, and go for a nice day on the water. Instead of the alternative, which is, using public facilities, waiting in line, having to hurry your butt up because other people are waiting to use the boat launch. So I am exceedingly privileged to have access to the water where I do. When my parents pass away, which I don't want to think about it, but it will happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know how that's going to be I don't know what's gonna happen to that. I am the executor of my parents' will, but I have siblings, and we do not get along, so there's no way we can agree. There's no way we're going to be able to agree on anything related with that cabin. Like, one's going to want to invest $100,000 into it, but it's going to be a shit show. So the point is that very likely we'll have to sell it. And there's no way we're going to be able to get monetarily what the value is to my mental well-being, you know, being able to go for a fish. And so, yeah, it's going to be pretty sad. When it goes away, it's going to be a big loss. And I'll have to deal with that at the same time as losing my parents. You know what I mean? It is what it is, though. Like I understand. It's part of the game. It's part of life. So here's my collection of terminals from work. This is what I was looking for. That just about fits, so we need 2 of these. I am running low. Aha, there's another one. Excellent, we've got 2. So I'm running low on these because I would always use these. These are for Rust modules. I would install these. Sadly, even though they're a scam. Let's hope your contract comes permanent and I can buy them out. Yeah, that's the other thing. One of my siblings will never let me buy them out. They are so jealous. They would rather burn things to the ground than let one of the siblings have something. And like, even if they're fully paid out, even if they're paid more than their fair share, they are the type of person that would be seething behind the scenes every time that they would think about someone else enjoying something that they could have had. Just bubbling up. So, you know what? It's funny because I told my parents, I said, when it happens, because it will happen, they will pass away at some point. I said, when it happens, I ask you, leave me out of it. I said, I don't, like, after losing my parents, which is them, I'm like, I'm not going to want to deal with, you know, things to do with banking and whatever. I said, leave me out of your will. I don't want it. I don't even want to deal with them. We'll do a clean break, never talk to them again. And you know what they did? They made me the executor of the will. Like, why? I can't, like, in the words of the famous meme, I can't believe you've done this. So now I'll be extra screwed. All right, so I need to figure out something with these crimpers too, because I never have the right crimpers on hand. Is this what I need? Will this iWis work well? But But yes, those Rust modules they're definitely a scam. You know what they are? They are an insurance policy disguised as a miracle Rust cure. That's what they are. Okay, so when you have a terminal that's way too big for your wire, what I like to do is I like to strip extra. And then I kink the wire. And then I kink the wire. And I fold it all onto itself. And now it's 3 times the thickness. Still going to be too thin, I think. But this is way better. They have considerable respect for your judgment and honesty. My parents, yeah. My siblings don't see it the same way. My parents are good, genuinely good people who did their best all their lives. And I don't want to get into details, but right now, they're both dealing with really bum deals in very different ways. So it's a little disheartening. My mom says she puts on my YouTube channel when she wants to hear my voice. Getting more wine already. On to the next one. People like How Come. On to the next one. Buy my old albums. Is it crazy? I grew up in a time listening to like 90s rap, and now I have to, maybe not have to, just automatically do self-censor the lyrics in my head. How those crimps were meant to be done. With a similar tool, but a little bit smaller. So first of all, these are, hang on a sec. Ugh, there we go. First of all, these crimps are insulated, but I just ripped the insulation off, a la Julian Eyelet. So they are meant to be crimped in one of these. So the insulated crimpers, they have a flat crimping surface. But I don't like using the hard plastic insulation. I would much rather slide on a little bit of heat shrink. So that's why I don't really use them. And out in the field, I will use a double-walled heat shrink with resin inside. Always using the wrong tools is the rule. Well, you gotta use your noggin a little bit. Okay, so I cut heat shrink those too small. Story of my life. Also in the field, like on mission critical stuff, I'll use 3-to-1 heat shrink. So you can use a much wider variety of sizes. You don't have to carry like very, very specific heat shrink sizing in your toolkit. One of these days, I have to synthesize all of the things I've learned over the years as a mechanic doing repairs and put it all in like a YouTube series. One of these days. Right now, I am way too focused on, I'm going to use big air quotes here, survival. So big air quotes. Like if you want to get down and dirty to it, I am surviving just fine. I always have food on my table. Like this is not survival in the sense of like I will die. So don't think of it that way, but I am living more or less paycheck to paycheck because my income has been stagnant. Actually, over the last 10 years, I've been earning, like, it goes up and down. But over the last, let's say 15 years, I've earned, on average, the same amount. So when you adjust for inflation, I don't make a lot of money. What I do have, though, is I have a way to support my hobbies, right? YouTube sort of makes me approximately even. I mean, I spend more money than I make, but you know, I get to do cool shit, put it on the internet, so there's that. But it definitely there we go. It subsidizes my hobby. And I've landed a very cool job, mind you, a short-term job for now, but a very cool job because of it. So there's that. But in terms of retirement, my retirement plan right now is to keep working until I keel over at my desk. I have no money for retirement. None. I have no savings. So that's why I mean like survival. How's it going, Franco? Repair work allows me to make an otherwise unsustainable... Yeah, exactly. So that is why that's why I'm saying I'm in survival mode. It's not like I'm fighting for my next meal. But until, like, if I were to not be able to work, which very nearly happened because my back, I would be in rough shape and it would get rougher very quickly because I have no savings. So the goal with the new job is going to be to build savings so I can be more comfortable and I can take a little bit bigger chances on the expenditures. Like if I get like hired full time, I'll be able to save a bit for a little while. And then in a year or 2 or 3, with those savings, I'd feel comfortable enough to upgrade my house, which is kind of, it's not really an it's an expenditure, but it is what it is. And if I upgrade the house, that means the workshop gets bigger, which means I can tackle bigger projects. I just need to be able to, make the videos to justify it. Because if it wasn't for YouTube, this house would be big enough. But it isn't. It's very, very small. Retirement, the retirement plan, yes. Yeah, I start tomorrow. Thanks, Franco, for the existential dread. Yes, I do start tomorrow. I am nervous. Very, very nervous. I shouldn't be nervous. And the reason I shouldn't be nervous, like I do have a rational thinking brain, right? So the reason I shouldn't be nervous is that I laid it all out on the table. I told them what my abilities were, and they still decided to hire me, right? They know who I am. I didn't lie about anything in my application. I do not want to get hired under false pretenses ever. That is like my nightmare. So I didn't lie about anything, even though that is kind of the recommended way to do it, is to embellish. I did not. I linked them to the YouTube channel, everything. And they asked me about high-speed routing. I was 100% honest with them. You know, I told them the extent of my knowledge. They hired me. That being said, I'm still nervous because if they decide to keep me on past the 4 months, it's life-changing. So that's why I am nervous. And also, that's the thing too, is like, I'll be part of a team. Yeah, back in your day, you didn't have to lie. But now, I'll tell you, every candidate lies. When you're well, not every, but the vast, vast majority of all the candidates lie. When you're perusing through resumes, when you're hiring, you have to take everything you read with a grain of salt, because everybody embellishes, and as the job searches get more desperate, right? Here in Canada, we have a little bit of some labor market issues. As those issues get worse, people's desperation increases, and the embellishing gets worse. Some people straight up lie too. Because let's be honest, there are a lot of jobs that you can do on the job training alone. Like, my position I'm going into could be 100% on the job trained. The problem is, software tools like KiCad have a large learning gap, like a huge cliff. And so that's why I was hired. I spoke to the engineers, and the engineers right now are doing the job that I'm being hired for, and they hate it. It takes them forever. It's like, whoops. I just put a glob of solder onto a USB cable. They hate it. It takes up all their time. So they went to their lead engineer and they said, we need someone to just make PCBs for us. And that's how I got hired. If you weren't nervous, you wouldn't be doing something that's worthwhile. Agreed. Can't see the point of lying. You're giving expectations you can't live up to. I think the analogy is sort of like bicycle races, where like people would say, well, if you're doping, then you're not really an athlete. But if you don't dope, you come in 50th position maximum because everybody else is doping. So that's kind of how people see it on the labor market, is that, do you want to lie and fake your way through a job that probably can be learned on the job and then get hired and be able to feed your family? Or would you rather stay unemployed? That's kind of the way people see it. For me, since I wasn't desperate for employment, like I still make ends meet, I would much rather not lie because I want to stay there long term. That's my goal. You'd think that, Franco, lots of people who make the call will never know what you can or can't do. That's another thing, Doss. That's another thing. When I was applying for work, I've been applying for work very selectively, mind you. I'm not applying for everything, but everything that seemed interesting to me, I've been applying for the last 6 to 8 months, something like that. And I was auto-screened out. I'm telling you, like, AI screened out of almost every electronics job because they had a hard requirement for a college diploma, minimum. Some of them asked for university degrees, minimum, but for the most part, it was minimum college diploma. And so, would you say that over my 10 years of electronics YouTube, have I picked up most of the skills of a college diploma? I would say yes. But I got auto-rejected out of so many jobs because I don't have it. So that is such a pain in the ass. And the crazy part is, nobody would have even checked if I have a college diploma. I could have lied. They don't ask you to submit your documentation. They don't care. I could have lied, but I don't want to lie. It doesn't feel right to start a relationship like that. Okay, on, off. You can't see. On, off. Does work. Oh. Except this will just create a dead short. That was dumb. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Still need the 1K resistor. So, anyways, point being is exactly that, is that I didn't want to lie. And I wasn't going to. I was never going to. Okay, so change of plans. We're going to put two 470 ohm resistors. It'll be 1K, it'll be plenty. Only had one formal job application your entire life. Everything else been directly business. Yeah. Yep. Improving your real abilities. Yeah, you can improve your real abilities, but it won't change the fact that someone. Okay, you have to understand. Okay, people will read. Okay, they won't read. let me improve this for current year. People will put an AI to the job description, and then they'll ask the AI to big time embellish their skills so that they appear to be the ideal candidate. And might even lie. They might even say, just make it so I get the job. So essentially, even though your real abilities are really good, you're competing against people who are ideal candidates on paper for the job you're applying to. And so, yes, that is my strategy, is to improve real abilities. But the thing is, you're competing against, tons of people who just made shit up. And they may get discovered in a technical interview, but I'll tell you, on my last repair job, it was just all like management interviews. There was no technical interview. Even at this job, I didn't have a technical interview. I didn't do anything. You need both unrealistic levels of experience as well as the bit of paper, yes. Didn't apply for your job at the repair shop. I used to go in there to buy spare parts when they asked if I wanted a job. Yeah, well, opportunities like that do happen, but they're rare. They're not something you can rely on. So at this interview, at this job that I'm starting tomorrow, thanks Franco, I didn't do any technical process. There was no technical interview. I mean, I don't know. I know my last job, they didn't, I used my YouTube as a portfolio. And I was like a week into the job and I asked, did you take a look at my YouTube yet? And they said no. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, it's not lying if you do what you say, even if you don't have the diploma. Okay, but I'm saying people lie about all the things they've done, not their diplomas. ITT, have you been on the job market? I know you're in Europe somewhere, so it's different. But when's the last time you've looked for a job? Because since COVID, things are crazy. I'm just curious. I'm not, I'm not trying to be mean. I just would like to know if you've been hunting for work lately, because it is a different world out there. It is a very different world out there. Employment market is fucked. Yes, it is. It is completely fucked. Everything is fucked. But I'll tell you, these next few months, even if I don't end up keeping the job, I now have a plan of attack for my future. The 4 months work experience that I'm going to get is going to be incredibly valuable. Like, no matter what happens, right? Being able to work at a tech firm, doing this kind of work, not only am I going to love it, but it is insanely good experience, like insane. But now, if they don't want me around for whatever reason, like honestly, whatever reason, budget constraints, switching domains or whatever, don't like my face, I don't dress nice enough, it doesn't matter. Whatever happens, I will have that experience always. That'll keep with me forever. And I also have devised a plan, because there are 1 or 2 other companies that are hiring for similar positions in Ottawa. And now I'll have the experience to walk in and say, I have this experience, here's what I've done. And yeah, I've got a plan. And on top of that, like, all I'm doing at the shop where I'm going to be working is all covered under NDAs, because I will be doing, it's basically, I'm in the R&D, I'm in the skunk works, like this company's literal research and development sector. So I have plans on making circuit boards that use the same skills to make my own projects at home, so that if I ever need to look for work in this sector, I will walk in to any technical interview and show them, here's what I've done, here is working boards that I have produced, because I won't be able to show them the stuff that's under the NDA. I will make my own personal projects at home of similar calibers, but just not NDA'd devices and not NDA'd anything. And so I'll be able to score one of those jobs. Here's hoping. I also have a plan to save money like crazy and just go to university. Okay, so this should have 1K ohm resistance now. Job market's already broken 10 years ago. Like, you only had barely paid jobs if you don't have the diploma, so it's not new. No, it's not new, but I would say it's like 10 times worse. It's gotten way worse. Okay, let's see if we can finagle this. You bastard. Here, let's not scuff up my meter, shall we? Oh, I'm in DC volts. What an idiot. There we go. Nearly 1K. Perfect. Okay, now we need one more wire to be crimped. It's gonna be a big wire. So I'm just gonna go and get, first of all, I have an energy meter that I want to hook up to this. So let me find that energy meter, and then we're gonna hook up the wires we need. We're gonna make a little wire. So I saw the box the other day for the energy meter. Yeah, this one. But that's not the one I want. I bought a second one And I'm not 100% sure where it went to. So I have a newer, more compact version of that one. Should be around here somewhere because I bought it for the second battery, the one that we looked at the other day. And it's got to be around here somewheres. Not looked for a job since the late 90s. Been on permanent sickness and disability benefits since 1998. That really sucks because I bet you your benefits did not go up with inflation very much. If you're talking to you, Doss, it's all good. Lifelong problem, slowly getting worse. Just live with it. Yeah, please keep living. You know, it sucks that you have to live with it, but you do have to live. But the thing is, I don't believe that everyone who is on disability is unable to work. And I don't mean this in the sense that we should take away their autonomy and whatever, don't pay them. I think that people like you, if I may, I think you have a lot you could give back to society. Like you could teach an electronics course probably, or some basic repairs. And I find it a bit sad that there's no like real mechanism to connect you with a way to do that. Does that make sense what I'm saying, Franco? Because like you're here, you're in chat, you're a bright person, you're not a dum-dum, and I think you're not the only one that has these abilities, these talents, and there's no real outlet for your abilities and talents. And I think everyone deserves a living wage, right? That's my core beliefs. But like, there should be incentives to do the things that you want to do. You know what, Franco? Here in Canada, I can't talk for the UK. I don't know about the UK. Here in Canada, though, every single time this gets researched, every time it gets looked up, every time there are government dollars allotted to it, the abuse, the systematic abuse of our benefits system or welfare system is always less than what it would cost to increase the enforcement. Like we have enforcement, it's not a free-for-all. We definitely have like systems in place to catch people who abuse the system. But the whole talking point that the system gets abused more than it is used, you know, for what it's actually needed. Like there's always this rhetoric that there's more people abusing the system than are on the system because they actually need it. That is always been false. That has always been a rumor started by people who want the system to fail for whatever reason. So yeah, being a single guy living on your own, you get enough to live on with enough extra to save up for bits from eBay. Well, that's pretty good. So this is what I wanted here. This is a much smaller shunt. I think this is a newer version of the one I just showed you. But yeah, the fact that tons of people abuse it is, it's not false, right? Because it's a huge system. There's a lot of people. So there are some people who abuse it. Let's be honest. But it has always been the fact that it has been more expensive to increase enforcement than you would save from the program. All right. At least here in Canada. Don't know anything about the UK. Goal is to remove the system. That you've nailed it, ITT. Couldn't have said it better myself. Don't forget, like, I'm no dum-dum either. I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. But I'm not dumb. And I have gone to university for criminology. I didn't get my degree because I quit with 1 semester remaining because I couldn't handle teaching and learning at the same time. Teaching, learning, and working in another job at the same time. But the statistics support that statement, ITT. There we go. Okay. So I need, this is a negative shunt, I'm pretty sure. So why is number 2 say V plus? Oh, I do have to connect to the positive. Okay. Connect to the positive, and then battery negative to number 3, and then load to number 4. Yeah, the fraud is much lower than you're led to be believed by media. And the reason for that, you have to look at who owns the media. Who stands to gain from social services being lowered? This you just squeeze maybe? This is not an ideal system, I'll tell you that. There we go. Okay, so we've got there we go, battery negative and load. So I'm going to put this on the battery. So we do need to size up our connections, and we do need to get our stuff ready. So I'll go get the battery. Lift with my back, not with my legs. Kidding, obviously. If Vero's watching the stream, she's freaking out at at me saying that. She knows I wouldn't, but okay. So, just bulldoze everything off the desk. So we need a wire going from battery negative to here. So we need one cable, and then we need another. The negative will connect directly to here of this thing. So we need to make one cable, and then we need a cable from the positive to this, and then the cable will fit directly on here. It is a big shunt. I think it's 100 amps. I hope I went a little higher than 100 amps. I think it is 100 amps. The new battery can handle more than 100 amps, but I wasn't aware that I would be sent a new battery. So you play with the hands, the cards you're dealt, and if you dealt them, you smelt them, essentially. I really should start asking companies to send me support tools. Like when they say they want me to take a look at a battery, should be like, that's fine, but you need to send me a shunt with it. So I don't have to spend out of pocket to make a video on your device. Okay, so I definitely had a box here. Oh, here it is. Yes. Found one of the tools I needed. So I have these terminals here. So I have this little kit and this big kit of terminals. We should be able to find what we need in there. And I have those two 4-gauge wires, and the cheap person in me is telling me that I should just use the length of 4-gauge as is, the full length. So I think I will. So we need to find terminals now that fit onto here. And that should be enough. Are my siblings rich? No. Oh, have a good one, Doss. Thanks for being here. No, my siblings are not rich. We grew up very much middle class without savings. My parents were never good with money because they never really had money. They were the kind of people that would spend money immediately when they got it. Now, whether that be feeding or clothing kids, or like luxuries like takeout and whatever, they were comfortable, but they had no one in their lives to explain that they needed to save money for later. So there were no savings in my household. So these terminals are actually a little bit big for this, but this will do because they'll sit flat on there. So there's no savings. So in fact, I didn't learn about saving until I met my wife. She grew up, I won't say poor. There's some genuinely poor people in this world, but she was not well off. Money was tight. I don't want to explain why. That's not my story to tell. That's hers. But I will say that there were very little luxuries for her growing up. And so she had the idea of saving. She's been working since she was a child. I think she was, I don't know, 10. I think she was 10 when she got her first job. And she worked also at a grocery store at a very, very young age. She is big on saving money. I would say she's pretty cheap. I don't think she would mind being characterized like that either. Like it's not a secret. But I think that's part of the deal when you grow up, you know, with not having much. I think that's just entirely normal. Okay, so what size crimper do we use here? So these are these kinds of crimpers with the, press this and you spin it. That seems about right. I will say that the one sibling that's jealous is doing, you know, they are doing well for themselves. But they keep that very, very close to the chest. They don't seem to want to let anyone know how well they're doing, because they have a victim complex, I would say. It's always like, oh, everyone's treating me wrong. Everyone's always hard on me. And if they were doing well for themselves, that would not really that would not really go well with their story. Oh, that's not crimped. See, I'm able to pull it off. So 25 is too big. Let's go down to 16. This is gonna maybe ruin the terminals. Here's 16. Ugh. So let's see, if you're able to pull out your crimp, it's not crimped enough. Yeah, it's good. So now I just need to put heat shrink on this. It tore the steel a little bit. In principle, the cable should have been a bit thicker, but we're not. We don't worry about that. I'm just gonna try to squish this a little bit with some pliers. Oh no, no notification. That's YouTube for you. You get what you get. How are you, Locke? How are you, Steven? Try to squish this a little bit. Oh, I think I made the crimp worse. Tried to squish down the sharp edge, but it tore a bit of the metal. So it's not going to be a championship winning crimp here. 10-second recap. We're just messing around with, I built a pre-charge resistor to connect loads right here. So this is a little pre-charge resistor. There's two 470 ohm resistors in here, and they're going to go in parallel with the switch. Hey Doss, you're back. Welcome back. Now you're not allowed to leave again. You can only leave once. Because if you leave me now, you take away the greatest part of me. Ooh, please don't go. I actually don't know that song other than from South Park. And these are like early season South Park seasons. I haven't watched South Park for like, I don't know, 8 years. Can't modify a crimp? I just did. Call the authorities. Go ahead. Make my iPod. Who knows that reference? Now that would be a throwback too. Okay, so I definitely have heat shrink that I use specifically for these large crimps. I don't know where it is though. So the problem with this really big heat shrink, dual walled with resin, is that it doesn't coil nicely onto a tight coil. So I constantly misplace it because it's not like at a spot. It's not at a spot I can easily get to it. That's too small. So I guess I use this really big stuff then. Okay. So look at this mess. It doesn't coil nicely. And then you also need like bigger scissors. You can't use like snips. Here we go. Let's see if it's the right length before I cut some more. All right, good night, ITT. Catch you when you wake up. No, South Park is still going, Steven. They definitely push the envelope a lot. Oh no. It's split. You see that? Might have been too hot. I find the other problem is if you don't cut it in one fell swoop, it leaves a weak spot. Ah, there, I just had to do it again. Might be too hot. Let me just drop the temp. It is at soldering temperatures, and it really doesn't need to be at soldering temperatures. That's good. There we go. Let's split across here. Tried to enter the crimp championship once in low voltage category. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I can do it really well when the pressure's on. Like when my students are watching. But like at home, different ball game. Plus, like, it's functional. Don't even start. It's functional. Let's see if I can get it all on camera this time. Sorta. All right, so let's start from the end. There we go. I have to lean it on my hip. No, it's not on camera. And slide it down. Oh, not on camera. Yep. There we go. Now we just wanted to squish that little bit of metal down. See if I could squish it down. Maybe I'll use the 25 for that. Okay, just gonna give it a little squish. You can watch it, see where it goes wrong. Oh. There we go. Just rolled in there. How's it going, Jackie? Pinball machine has thousands of crimps. Takes a long time. I love crimps. Crimps are by far my favorite way. Oh, motherfucker. I didn't put the heat shrink on. Hopefully it fits. Crimps are by far my favorite way for assembling wires. They're also the Automotive Society of Engineers, the ASE. They do not recommend soldering in automotive applications anymore. It's been a long time now, actually. Just slide that back just a little bit. Crimps are the way. And people get so mad when you tell them that crimping is the most acceptable way to do wiring repairs in automotive. Yeah, solder is bad vibration-wise. It creeps up the wire while you're doing it, leading to brittle wires. there's a lot of potential for oxidation and bad technique. There's not as much mechanical hold in a crimp, in a solder joint. Lots of reasons why crimping is the best way. And don't forget repeatability, which is quite important, right? If you're going to have to crimp like 10 wires, it's much easier to ensure all 10 of your crimps have gone well than to ensure that all 10 of your solder points have gone just as well. But people get so mad because some graybeard at some point told them soldering is the only way to do it. And then their whole world is shattered. They can't handle the truth. Also, there's this thing. Eco wire? Well, you mean the eco coating. So it's a soybean insulation instead of PVC. So yes, mice are having a field day with that. For sure. At Honda, we had a technique to deal with that. Honda sells tape that you wrap around the wires, and it's rat poison. So mice, first of all, it tastes very, very bitter. They don't like it. But on top of that, if they keep eating it, they die. So this is actually a OEM. There's a Honda part number you can use to order it. It's great. Works phenomenally. Usually we only had like a lot of problems when it came to like things that are like inside, like underneath intake plenums or behind the starter or stuff like that. Stuff where like mice like to hide. So you only really need to put the tape in a couple places. The other thing is we would use mesh hardware cloth to put like a grate. Give me a second here. There we go. Use mesh hardware cloth to put a grate in the air intake for the HVAC system, because mice were getting into the HVAC system and eating the cabin filters. There we go. There's the crimp. Why not stick with the old wire? The reason is PVC is very bad for the environment. So it's an environmental thing. And the solution is not to go back to PVC. The solution is just to use a different formulation. So I do believe that new vehicles are already done with that formulation. And let's be honest, mice still ate PVC insulation. They still stripped PVC insulation. They just didn't do it as much. So you don't have to halt progress just because there was a problem. And I would argue, because people tell me this all the time, like, This is stupid. How come manufacturers don't have to deal with their problems? Blah, 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 blah. I am more concerned about Chevrolet and Ford and Nissan making shit engines that have to be thrown out, after like 20,000 kilometers than I am with the wiring being eaten by mice, because mice eat PVC as well, just not as much. But like the thing is that once a problem has deemed to be caused by a change that makes things ecologically friendly, all of a sudden people are against progress. They're like, oh no, we should just go back to the old ways immediately. But that's just because it fits their views, that they want to be able to pollute as much as they want. I think just a lot of people feel guilty that they don't care about the environment, so they just think that nobody should care about the environment. But you know what? I go fishing. I walk in nature. I do care about the environment. But I drive a Honda CR-V. I don't drive an electric vehicle. Right? You can have both. You just have to be aware of your impact. That's all. I have a negative impact. Look, what's this? Lead solder. I don't think that everyone should give up everything. I just think that we need to be conscious of the decisions we make. Mil-spec wire. Is that for stuff you sell or stuff that you build for you? Because I don't know about you, but I ain't got no mil-spec wire budget. And also, from what I learned about military spec things from people who have served, I wouldn't treat that as a respectable standard. I would treat like aviation grade or marine grade as a good standard instead. Because apparently mil-spec stuff, you have to look this up on your own there. Don't trust anything I say, but apparently military spec stuff is mostly spec'd away to favor one distributor over another, because it's just an easy way to award contracts to your buddies. So I would prefer a standard of like aerospace grade instead of mil-spec. There's the last crimp. Everything, it's all you buy for wire. Yeah, wow. That's a privileged position there. I'm happy for you. You dye your own colors? Nice. Some manufacturers, to save on costs, they don't use different colors. They have a printer, a label printer, that prints directly onto the wire. So before they bundle up the wires, they'll put the wire through a printer, run it through, and every 10 centimeters or so, it'll put a circuit number. So yeah, no color codes. I have to say, as a person who had to work on a device like that, pain in the butt. But I did work with both colleagues and students that were colorblind, and they had trouble with wire diagrams and chasing wires. So that would solve the color blindness problem at the very least. There we go. 2 cables built up. I think we're ready to put this thing together. Okay, so let's start at the battery end. So let's just clear room. No color code will do your nut in. They have like excuse me. They have like circuit numbers on them though. It's a bit less visual, I have to admit. It's not as good. But it is doable. Okay, so let's take this away. God, this thing's heavy. Excuse me. I'm like dying. Coffee went down the wrong hole. Okay. Put this away. It's not privilege, it's choice. No, it's okay. It's privilege to be able to afford high-spec cables. Okay, so this guy, battery negative. So we're going to put the black cable No, I agree with you, Franco. So one thing I just didn't at all accommodate for is I don't have a fuse. It'll just have to be what it be. Just let me go get the sizes wrench I need for these two. No guarantees I'll have the wrenches here because my tools are in a tool area outside or like in the garage. Okay, that's a 14. That'll do. What about this guy? Can be some oddball size. Oh, maybe 17 actually. Maybe not oddball. Not oddball. All right, here we go. Battery negatory. So this wire really could have been very short. I would love to run it through here, but that would be kind of a pain. So it has to go here. Oh wait, the opening is this way, so I have to go this way. Fuel dye does not sound fun. Am I okay? Yeah. Why am I not okay? Like, you mean my my throat? Because the coffee went in the wrong hole? Okay, and then we can leave this open because we have the lead. But we also need to shove this on the positive. The more you buy it, cheaper it is. 5,000 foot spool is $1,200. That is really expensive. Choking on stream issues? Yeah, that's my I aspirated my coffee. Ugh. Okay, so there's one end. There's another end. There we go. So that needs to go to battery positive. So I don't have a contingency plan for hooking this up to the battery positive. I don't have another of those ring terminals, I don't think. Oh, I do. I have one more. And I think this one's too small. Yeah, that one's too small. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just punched my camera. Don't forget, that's $1,200 USD. So times 1.4. So let's see. So that'll be 1,700 Canadian dollars. That's more than my computer upgrade is going to cost me when I eventually do it. That's a lot of money. I think the healthy thing is to have a little bit of perspective, right? That you're, like, I don't think considering your privilege is a bad thing. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm privileged to be able to do YouTubing with the cool gear that I have. Like, there's nothing bad. It's not like you didn't earn your money. It's like that problem has been multiple gauge spools. Yeah, for sure. There we go. Not the prettiest crimp. but it'll do. So I'm very nervous connecting all of this stuff without fuses, but this does have a short circuit protection in the battery, apparently. Not something I would rely on normally, but I just realized I don't have a fuse holder. Or do I? Let me double check. But even if I did, I don't have any more cable to install a fuse. So there could be fireworks. I wouldn't say it's an impossible thing. Let me get I do have to, I should order some wire, but the big problem right now is that I'm not earning any money on YouTube, not any real money. So my expenses are quickly outpacing the taxes I will owe, and the taxes on a self-employed income are non-refundable. So if you spend more than you owe in taxes, spend more than you would get a discount in taxes, you don't get the difference back. It's a non-refunding thing. So I'd really like to earn some more money on YouTube before investing, you know, $100 on a little bit of four or whatever gauge wire. I need to reach out to PCBWay and see if we're still cool, because I haven't talked to them this whole year, 2026. We're, what, 8th month now? I haven't talked to them all year. So I don't know if I'm still sponsored, to be honest. Not that it's a bad thing, like it's been a little nice to just follow my whims, but the extra cash is certainly being felt, the fact that I don't have the extra cash. Which again, don't go subscribe on Patreon just because I'm saying this, please, because I'm starting a new job tomorrow. Literally tomorrow I will be going in there. I have my schedule for the first day. Doesn't look like I'll be doing a lot of work on the first day. Looks like it's going to be a lot of setup time, but I really do want to get to work. Like I want to get started. Okay, so there we go. All right, so when the positive cable goes on here, we're going to have to be very careful. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up on the switch first. What's the job? PCB design engineer for a tech firm. Local, in person. Also a little uncomfortable because they are calling me a PCB design engineer, where in Canada you can't be an engineer without having the paperwork. So they were actually looking for an engineer, and they got me instead. Thank you, thank you. It's for a tech company, and I'll be in their, essentially their skunk works. I'll be in the R&D department. I will be the only one in the entire department without an engineering degree. So, obviously, very nervous, as you can imagine. So I didn't clock these properly, so it's going to be a little awkward. It is what it is. No zaps, right? No. Okay, so I need this one too. No zaps? No. Are you hooking that up straight across the battery? Won't it short out? What, this? This won't go straight across the battery. It is going back to Cali. It is it's going to go to the load. So I'm going to take this negative wire and I'm just going to tuck it down here somewhere. Ugh. Okay, so now all it's missing is our load, and I would very much like to close up this. So let's do that. Let's grab the wire. We'll connect the load after. For now, I'm just a little uncomfortable with everything being open. And no fuses. So the load has fuses. So that's okay. But it's the little bit of like wire that we're dealing with right now. It does not. Okay. Here we go. So this is switched off. So this terminal is not live, so I can hook this up. That's not a problem. I just want to put the cover back on. That's the big thing I want to do right now is put this cover back on. So like so. So like so. And then it should be one more lock watcher. The guys with degrees aren't as smart as they think they are, and few have. I can guarantee you, none of them have real-world experience. Well, no, okay, not. I won't. I will retract that. They told me that almost everyone in the office is young, straight out of university. They are looking for creative ideas. They are looking to move fast and break things. They want daily board spins. So they're looking for that youth. I will be the only graybeard in the place. And that means I'll have a lot to prove because I'll be the only graybeard. And I'll be the only one without an engineering degree. I do have real world experience. This is true. But I don't have like real world professional electronics experience aside from my YouTube. So it's not... This doesn't make any sense. Why would... Why would they give me such huge bolts? Because I would think the bolts would come from this way, but this cover comes in from that way, and then the nuts go in there. And that won't hold the cover on. Because that goes on like this. The bolt has to come through this way, but it won't hold that back cover on. So really the nut has to be like through. I wouldn't say that's the best design I've ever seen. This was very inexpensive, mind you. Don't get me wrong. So I think we just put this on and we just yeet these bolts through. Do they even fit through? Yeah, they fit through. Yeah, they just go. Okay. So the answer is they haven't really thought of it. You know what? Whatever. I'll just use them. To hold to a panel, possibly. I'm only gonna spoil 2 of the nylock nuts. They didn't even give me like the right size. This is crazy. Okay, so I need a driver for these. Let's see. Oh, probably the one T handle that I'm missing is the one I need, and I know where that T handle is too. Yep, 4mm hex. Now what? Now what? Chicken butt. Now why? Chicken thigh. I have my LTTstore.com screwdriver. I did put a hex in this one. Is it a 4mm? Nope, 3mm. It has a 4mm hex. Oh, yes. LTTstore.com. I wish they did pay me. Yes. Yes. We are winning, as the British would say. Can I go on a quick rant that all nuts should be flanged nuts? AKA they should have a integrated washer. That is one thing from the automotive world that just doesn't exist anywhere else. In fact, it's not even from all the automotive world. It's from the Japanese automotive world. All right, Franco. By the way, I'm a certified hater. I don't think there is any domestic vehicle I would buy. Ford, GM, and Dodge, especially Dodge. Such pieces of garbage. All right, so we can now hook this up to the load. So this is relatively safe now. I wouldn't say safe, but relatively safe. These are really big, thick cables. You really, really should not run them without proper fusing. But we are going to anyway. I wonder how much 4-gauge cable will cost me. I sort of need to make like an attachment kit. So a fuse box that I can bolt onto these batteries anytime that I need to. For automotive, they make quick terminals. So it'd be nice to have a quick terminal that fits into here, but these are all screw terminals. They don't have battery posts per se. Okay, so now we need to get the load in, I guess. Oh, this thing is heavy. Man, you guys won't be able to see shit. Maybe if I stack this over here, I'll be able to push it back far enough. So, switch is off. So this should not arc and spark. Nope. Actually, the other one's not connected. So yeah, no arcing and sparking. The negative's not connected. There we go. We can put the little cover back onto this. Scuffed up the heat shrink a little bit. Okay, if I can push this right up against that. Okay, so this is safe-ish. Now I just need to connect up the negative. Again, this is off, so it should be fine. Yeah, no arcs and sparks. Okay, hang on to this as much as I can, get a couple threads on. There we go. Put this bad boy back together. There we go. And now we can hook up our display. Where is the cable? Oh, here. So it just uses a RJ45, I think. I think that's what it is. Like a phone cable. These things are decent for reasonable speed signaling. Not high speed, but you know, reasonable. They give you a lot of wire. Holy crap. It's like 20 feet. All right, now since we have the positive wire on here, we should be good to go. Should turn on right away. There's a beep. 12.78 volts. Let's do the battery capacity. We will put that to 100 amp hours. That's what it is. Yeah. Alarm, color scheme, display, brightness. Give me everything you got. Backlight off, off. Factory reset. Okay, so it should be able to connect to this. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. I know you won't see it perfectly. That should be pretty good. There we go. And now should be able to download an app. Play Store, it's Junk Tech. What is the app I need? Quick guide, coulometer, user manual, app, description, KMF series app. KM110F. I'll have to figure this out another day. I might need to sideload an Android app for this. Okay, so here goes nothing. Let me see if I can move this more. I'd really love for you guys to be able to see. Well, let's put the flammable 99.9% alcohol somewhere else. All right, so here's the on-off button. Here's some LEDs. They're off right now. Let's see if I start charging this, what happens. It says power and fault. So I'm just pressing this to get the resistors, the capacitors charged. Why does everything need a bloody app? So I bought this because it's doesn't need an app, but there is an app, so I wanted to check it. That's all. Okay, hopefully this is enough. Here it goes. That's on. This is not on. Let's turn this on. So right now, look, we have 20 milliamps. Oh boy. Okay, so it's on. Used 1 amp. And looks like it's power on, no fault. The battery has woken up. It was sleeping. It was at 12.7. Now it's at 13.33. That's interesting. Okay, so let's plug something in, shall we? Where is... Oh no, did I lose the power adapter for this thing? That is not a good sign. Okay, here, let's take this. Ugh. All right. So I have this LED panel full of dust because it's been sitting on the side here for a while. Okay, so this uses a, well, it doesn't say what it uses. This should go well. So it's connected to a lamp cord with these plugs here. So plug this in. We'll see what happens. Oh, it's on. So it's now using 25 watts out of this. Oh, there's a display here. It's using 25 watts out of the battery, but it's not sensitive enough. It's telling me 120 volts at 60 hertz and no power draw. Plug in a hairdryer or a toaster. So I have a dehumidifier, which I plan on using. Okay, so that's cool. So yeah, we're drawing 2 amps at the moment. Well, that's pretty neat. So that's like fuck all, right? It's like nothing. I use much more than that fishing. I have my hot air gun here too. I could plug a whole bunch of things in here. This is a 3,000 watt inverter. So this is fine. The battery though, it can only output about 1280 watts or so. We are getting, ooh, that is high voltage, 123. This is my wall output is not that much. Let me see here. Why you no work? It's not 2 volts AC, you nincompoop. Oh, it is. Okay, 120. Usually it was like 100, closer to 115. Okay, so it's doing something. Let's plug something else in there. To be honest, I want to put this on my lawnmower. I have a 120 volt lawnmower. So I'd love to strap the battery to it and then plug in my lawnmower, and then it would be perfect. I could power the Voron with it. What is the, like, just something interesting to power? I think this is the plug for my hot air gun. No, I just unplugged something else. Hopefully the stream didn't drop. I just unplugged something random. Oh, maybe it was my hot air gun. Nope. Oh, it must have been my soldering iron. My hot air gun's probably connected to the other wall. I have everything sort of like zip tied in place. So it's kind of going to be difficult to find a load. Okay, let me go get the dehumidifier. I don't know if it'll trip the battery or make the wires hot. Let me just power it off first. And then I'll empty the water so I don't have to carry the heavy ass water. So the dehumidifier, let me check the specs here. Can someone do the wattage conversion for me? 115 volts, 8 amps. That's not even 1,000 watts. Wait, someone do the conversion by the time I get there. Ugh. Oh, it's heavy. Okay, here goes. Oh. All right, okay, nobody did the conversion. That's fine. Let's plug this in so you guys can see this meter. Okay, immediately we're at 10 watts of standby, 9 watts of standby. Okay, this has 0 watts. Let's turn this on. Oh, so we've got 50 amps of current here. This is a good load. So 600 watts from the battery. No heat here. Oh, let me get the thermal camera. This is fun. So we're at 576 watts here. 530 watts here. So that should give you an idea of the efficiency. It says 128 volts, so I guess it compensated a little bit by boosting the voltage. Wires are remaining cool. I'm worried about this switch though. This is a Chinesium switch. 594 watts. 920 watts, thank you. Okay, so the display is warm. The display is 34 degrees. The plug is warm, 32 degrees, 34 degrees. The unit is cool. The wires are at like 26. Everything is cool on the switch, 28. The top wire, 28. Top wire, 29 on the negative. Everything is cool. There's no problem. And we are running like 600 watts. Really, the display is the warmest part of the whole thing. Oh, I could see some warm components inside, but the fan hasn't turned on. That's pretty neat. We're down to 12.84 volts though. That's on the shunt. So yeah, we're grabbing right from the terminal. So I don't know if this battery is suffering a little bit because this is the battery that was discharged completely. But yeah, nothing's hot. Yeah, I'm definitely going to use... What are you hoping to power with this? Long story. Let's make it short. A company has sent me a big lithium battery. Like 3 times the size of this one. And so I agreed to do it. And then I went and I spent money on this, a 3000 watt inverter, so that I can make a video. Probably I'll use the battery and this inverter to do electronics things, like supply my entire electronics bench and stuff like that. Right? But also, it can make cool videos like 3D printing using only the sun. So I can put out my 300 watts of panels I have, charge up that battery over the course of a couple days, and then have a print-a-thon to drain all the batteries. I have also my fishing trolling motor battery, plus this one, so that's 200 amp hours. And the one that was sent to me is like 320 or something like that. So I could put them all in parallel and 3D print for a very long time, or run the whole thing, or whatever. So the possibilities are endless. But I have the advantage that now I have this in my workshop. So if we do have a power outage, I could just use this. I can use this to, it's 3000 watts. I can power the fridge. And with, you know, a couple of big lithium batteries and some solar panels, I could probably power the fridge for a decent amount of time during a power outage. So that's kind of the goal. So yeah, this is working just fine. This is a dehumidifier. I mean, I have an AC, an air conditioner. Ouch. What the hell? Did I just get zapped? Hang on. I either got stabbed by some of the loose copper strands here, or I got a shock by touching between the case and the negative. Let's investigate, shall we? So there's 2 DC volts between the case and the battery negative. What about AC? There's 65 volts AC between the two. So there is a ground terminal here. I did get zapped. That's good to know. So there is 65 volts between the two. That's interesting. That doesn't mean there's a lot of current, but I did get a little zap. So there is on this case, I will probably refrain from touching this case now. On this case, there is a ground terminal that they expect you to put into your house ground, I assume, or like your RV ground or whatever, so that everything is floating at the same degree. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's power this off. So that is off now. Voltage has recovered. It's up a little higher. Now we can flip this off. Now it's off. And now we can flip this off. Now it's off. And should be good. There we go. Let's check, see if there's still a voltage differential between the two. It's probably cheap wire. What's wrong with the wire? So very little DC volts, millivolts AC, so it's bleeding down. So yeah, I would probably resolve to put a ground. There is a ground terminal here, so I'd probably resolve to use it. So yeah, so with these batteries, it should be good in a power outage, definitely. Let me see what the what the battery they sent me is. They asked me like, "Hey, where's the video?" And then I'm like, "Look, I'm trying to make an interesting video for you. Don't rush me." And they said, "Okay, we'll wait for the video." So the battery is a what is it? So it's a Blue Eddy B1232. Blue Eddy B1232. I had a backache the day I went to pick it up, so it's not even in my workshop down here. This bad boy. So it's a pretty serious battery. It does pretty serious work. So I should be able to print like multiple things. This is wrong. It's not 51.2 volts, it's 12 volts. That's a pretty wild battery. All right, so I think that is it for today. I will have to do my paperwork another day. We had some fun with the inverter, but I think enough is enough. I need to disconnect this shit before I short something and strongly regret it. So yeah, I think I will call it a day here. And we are going to see each other, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's a new job. So we will see each other soon. We'll see how it goes with the new job. The idea is to stream on weekends and evenings when I get used to the new job. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate you all. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.